Welcome back. My name is Ray Morris, founder of Dads for Special Kids, and you're watching Emergency Disaster Preparedness for Individuals and Families with the Functional Needs. This section of the video is over self-disclosure and what self-disclosure is, how it works, and for me personally, this is one of the components I'm most passionate about. Being the son of a quadriplegic father whose greatest fear was the house catching on fire and no one knowing that he's there, and him physically being unable to evacuate. He cognitively has the ability and awareness to it, but he doesn't have the physical capability. And also being the father of a son with autism and severe cognitive delay, Zachary has the physical ability to evacuate and get out safely, but he doesn't have the cognitive awareness and ability to say, hey, I need to get out, to see the danger. So by having a self-disclosure, being able to self-disclose and let first responders know about Zach's and my dad's limitations helps the firefighters provide more effective service to Zach and my dad. So real quick, here's a little definition of what self-disclosure is, and you have to answer the question, is it right for you? Self-disclosure: when an individual or legal guardian discloses their functional need to an individual, agency, or organization. Okay? Pretty simple. You're just saying, hey, I want you to know about this. I want you to know about me and my limitations or my functional limitations before an event takes place. So, and you can see this on the slide right now as where I'm reading the definition. Also down below it says, you have to consider self-disclosing your functional needs, considerations to your local fire, police department, and your Office of Emergency Preparedness. By sharing this information, your local first responders will know valuable information prior to an event, enabling them to provide effective service. Also to be aware of your emergency and disaster preparedness plan. So that's very crucial there, because you're going to your first responders and say, hey, I want you to know about this, about me and my limitation. For example, for us, I want the Phoenix Fire Department to know about Zachary before an event because he's unable to self-rescue himself, and they will have to rescue him if we're not able to get him out of the house. Also, we're telling them, hey, we have a disaster plan. We're self-sufficient for 96 hours. That's crucial information for the fire department and emergency managers to know, because we're part of their community, so the emergency manager doesn't have to be concerned with us for 96 hours. He knows we're self-sufficient. And that's what emergency managers want. They want their community to be self-sufficient for 96 hours in the event of a disaster, because that gives the emergency manager a time to get things up and running to meet the needs of the community, to allow public works to get water back on, to power back on, okay, to clear the streets, to do whatever needs to be done to help the community recoup. Okay, our preparedness helps our communities be more resilient. Because the fire department emergency manager don't have to be concerned with us. He's able to turn those resources, and focus on other things to help the community get back up and running. Okay, so how does this work? This is what we're doing in Scottsdale with the Scottsdale Fire Department, and also the Mesa Fire Department has agreed to do this. And this is just one disclosure process. We here in the Phoenix Valley metro area have a central dispatching, and all the fire trucks here in the Phoenix Valley are dispatched by two agencies, Phoenix Fire Department or Mesa Fire Department. All the fire trucks have GPSs. We cross borders. My fire truck I'm on in Scottsdale, we could be over in Phoenix, we could be in Peoria or Glendale. If they need us, we're going to go, and they dispatch the closest fire truck. So for example, I'm on fire truck 607 in Scottsdale, and we're over close to the Phoenix area, and all of a sudden an emergency kicks out and our fire truck's closer, we're going to go. It doesn't matter if it's a Scottsdale fire truck. We share resources back and forth. And a lot of communities are doing that. We also have a computer aid dispatching. And in our computers, we're able to store information, pre-plans about buildings and things like that. So that's a little information for what we're going into right next about our disclosure process and plan. So the screen that you're looking at here, you see where it says L602, that's ladder 602 in Scottsdale, and BC 601. All the fire trucks, as I stated, have GPSs on them. So as the fire trucks are moving around, a dispatcher can watch it on the computer screen and watch where the fire trucks are at. So if something emergency kicks out in a certain area, they know automatically through the computer which fire truck is closest, and that's the one that's going to get sent. Also, as you look on there, you see those little orange lines. Those are indicating that those particular buildings have a pre-emergency plan drawn for them. So if you were to take your finger and you would click on the icon, you can't do it right here, but in the fire truck we can do it, and it would pull up a floor plan of that building. So we know where all the exits are at, we know where the hazards are, we know where all the electrical panels and the gas shutoffs and things like that. So in an emergency fire, we can tactically have our plan prepared before we even get to the building, because we already know what the building looks like, and we can have an idea of where the fire is at and already be planning of what to do to tackle the fire and extinguish it. So, and a real quick information on the left hand side where it says C2, C3, that means you click, if you're in route code 3 with lights and sirens, you push that little button and it tells the dispatcher and the computer, hey, you're in route with code 3, and then all the information on the left side is your availability if you're on scene, en route, or staged. So, okay, and real quick, you're looking at the screen right now, and that's all that definitions for those buttons that I was just pointing out to you, that if you want more information about it, you can take a look at it. But I do want you to take note of the section on the right hand side where it says premise alert. That's where additional information can be inputted. Like for example, history of a violence, individual living there, whatever. Information can be stored there. All right. Now, under that premise alert, as you saw it, you're looking right now. You're looking at a screen, and it shows premise information about a place on Chambers Street, about a nitric chloramic acid tank, 1,100 gallons. Okay, that information is very crucial to the firemen. Is if we go to that house or that residency, and there's an emergency or fire, we know that, hey, there's a 1,100 gallon nitric chloric acid tank there. That's hazardous. It's hazardous to us, public, and everything. So we could take steps to mitigate that hazard and not injure ourselves, get ourselves killed, or get the public killed. We could take steps quickly and appropriately because we know beforehand about that tank before we get there. That's the reason we have this information. That's why it's stored here, to help firemen serve the community more effectively, and it really, really works out. So here's what we proposed in Scottsdale and that we're doing a pilot program on, and also in Mesa, and it's called the Premise Alert Project. And what we're doing is we're allowing individuals to self-disclose their functional need to the fire department prior to an incident. Cool. It's awesome. Because now we have that information before we get there. We know about a disability, a limitation before we get there. We know, hey, if we go in this house and we have an individual that's a paraplegic and he sleeps in the back right bedroom, he may not be able to self-rescue himself. So we know as a fireman, we get to that house, boom, automatically, we're going to go to that back right bedroom to rescue him, make sure he's okay. Then we'll deal with the fire or anything else. But life safety is our primary mission of the fire service. We'll risk our lives a lot to save a life. Okay, we risk our lives little to save what's already lost. So we need to know beforehand, before we get there, if we have a life safety hazard. Okay, so as you look at this next screen here, this is just a premise alert for Scottsdale. That's Lewis, our dog, on the right-hand side. And the goal is eventually to be able to put digital pictures on here. So it says address, name, primary medical condition, and there's a drop-down menu that we have set up for all the different topics. Primary location within the residency. Where are they located at in the residence? That's crucial information for me as being a fireman to know where you're going to be at, so I can go right there to get you, to remove you safely. Ability to self-rescue. Are you able to self-rescue yourself? Yes, no. Okay. Responsible party not on at site. Okay. That's information. So we get there, we rescue this person, somebody that we can contact that's not there, that could come and provide assistance to that individual if they need it. Okay. We can turn that person over to. Okay. And then down at the bottom is special information. Okay. So here's how it would actually look. Okay, this next slide that you're looking at, this is a premise alert. Okay, the picture on the right is a little goofy picture. That's Tyler on the right and Zach on the left. Tyler one day went and picked up Zachary from his adult day program for us, and Tyler drives a little Scion TC little car with dark tinted windows, and that's Zachary's expression of riding in it. He wasn't too excited about it, but it worked out. So Tyler took that picture at a stoplight and sent it to us, and we thought it was hilarious. So here's how it looks for our house. There's our address, Zachary Morris, autism, severe cognitive delay. Quick information for as a paramedic. Hey, no, he has autism, severe cognitive delay. It's going to be a communication issues problem there. His bedroom is above the garage. Great. Find the garage. His bedroom's right above it. My name and cell phone number, somebody to contact if they need be. Also, nonverbal, grand mal seizures, cognitive about 2 years of age. Crucial information to have. That he's nonverbal means he's not going to talk. He has grand mal seizures, and cognitively he's going to behave like a 2-year-old. That helps firemen, paramedics know how to interact with the person more effectively, and we know that's our baseline of where he's going to be at. If I'm looking at Zachary, I would expect him to be, typical. Look like he'd be a, 20-year-old individual, and he should behave like that. And so if he's not behaving like that, I may have a tendency to think, hey, something's wrong. But knowing that he's cognitive about a 2-year-old level, crucial information. So this information pops up on the computer. If on the computer screen, if we go back to the slide that's with the nitric chloramic acid, instead of that information being there, that premise alert information would be there. So if my address comes up in the computer, the little icon premise alert lights up, fireman taps that, and boom, all that premise alert information comes up, so that fireman, that fire truck, has that information before they get to my house. So if there's a fire, they know automatically. High probability of a rescue. Zachary sleeps above the garage, nonverbal, grand mal seizures, cognitively he's going to be like a 2-year-old. So they can have a plan before they get there of what they're going to do. That's why what we do in the fire service, we pre-plan buildings so we can have our plans established before we get to the residency. This is just taking it one step to the positive side and allowing the fire department to more effectively serve the community by having information about individuals that are at a high risk of needing rescue. So this is what we're doing in Scottsdale. As you look at the next slide, this is a little script that's been written out of we're asking people to do is to read it first beforehand, and then take this information down to their local fire department. And as you're looking at right now is the actual form itself that you fill out. You fill that form out, take it down to your local fire department and say, hey, I want to self-disclose to you. You can do this at any fire department across the nation, across the world. Is go down to them and say, hey, I want you to know about my limitations before you come to my house. So if there is a fire, I want you guys to be able to have a higher chance of rescuing me. Here in Scottsdale, in the Phoenix area, this information is put into a computer. Your local fire station could take that information you're self-disclosing and put it in a little 3-ring binder that they carry in the fire truck. They have access to it. So if they're going to a house, they can pick up that little book, flip through it real quick, and look and say, oh yeah, we do have a premise alert. We have information about this individual. Oh wow, hey, it's an elderly lady, Ethel. She's in a wheelchair and she sleeps in the back left bedroom. So your firemen know before they get there, hey, they're going to have a high chance of a rescue, and they know where to go. Instead of waiting till they get to the house, which typically happens, and then we find out, hey, oh, there's a kid that sleeps upstairs and he has cognitive delay, and that's all I really know. That's what the neighbor tells us. Well, now the firemen have to revamp, readjust their plan for that. A fire doubles in size every minute. So if I pull up on my fire truck and all of a sudden I see the fire, I know where it's at, we're going to go fight the fire, a neighbor comes up and says, hey, there's somebody that's lives in a wheelchair and they sleep in the upstairs bedroom. Now I have to readjust my plan as a fireman to go to a rescue mode. It's going to take me 20, 30 seconds to adjust the plan to go do that. The fire is already increased, almost doubled its size. But if I can have that information beforehand, now I can effectively go rescue somebody and save their life, and then deal with the fire. We can rebuild a house. We can buy new furniture. We can buy new clothes. We can't get a new life. We can't get a new individual. And that's what we want to save. We want to save the individuals. So this is the self-disclosure project we're doing here in Scottsdale and Mesa, Arizona. I encourage you, wherever you're at, to take this. If you choose to do it, fill it out along with your plan and take it down to your local fire station and share it with them and encourage them, hey, I want to self-disclose. Because they want to. Firemen, we want to serve. We want to do the right thing. But having collaboration with individuals, with our community, makes things a little more effectively. Also, I forgot to mention, as you look on that sheet with the information you're filling out, self-disclosure, there's a couple parts down there that you do have a disaster plan, that you are self-sufficient for 96 hours. That's crucial because the emergency manager of your community wants that information to know, hey, my community is safe. So he knows, hey, you guys are self-sufficient. You have a plan. He's going to go, great, thank you. And he's going to love you even more because you're making his job easier. Because, like I said, in a disaster, you can't rely upon the government. You've got to be self-sufficient for 96 hours. Okay? And also, you notice on the bottom that you're signing it. You're choosing your own free will to do this. And there's a little section for a witness to sign. Because, like for us, we have guardianship of Zachary, so we've got to be cautious of that. So, also, try to update, keep the fire department updated if there's any changes in your condition, or if you move. If you move, go back to them and say, hey, I moved, because we don't want old information. We want current information as a fireman, and you got to take responsibility as an individual too. So that's the self-disclosure. A lot of information. I'm very passionate about it, and I hope you choose to do it and work with your local fire department and establishing some type of self-disclosure for your community. So thanks a lot. Have a great day, and I hope to see you back on step number 2. Bye.